Baltimore, Maryland. Witnesses described the scene as two drunken men getting into an altercation over a stolen seat. Critics are already using this instance as yet another reason why the temperance movement should be expanded to the entire United States.
Hey, get out of my seat, buddy.
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it if I don't?
Hey, no fighting in my bar. Get out.
Let's take it over there.
All right, let's go.
So, sir, why don't you tell us your side of the story about what happened at the bar?
So what initially happened was, I had a really bad day, like one of the worst days I've ever had. My grandfather died of cholera. My grandmother left. Some like really bad things. It was just messed up. So I wanted to drown my sorrows with liquor, and so that's what I was doing at that bar. But as I was minding my own business, I guess I stole someone's seat. I wasn't aware of that, but they got really mad at me, and they told me to get out of their seat, and I escalated the situation way too far. I took it to a brawl, and the rest, well, everyone knows what happened after that.
So why did you lose control?
Okay, so I really lost control because what happened was I was drunk. Like I said before, I wasn't clearly thinking, if that makes sense. Yeah, the liquor made me not think straight, so I was just escalating the situation, and yeah, it turned into a brawl after that.
What are some consequences you have faced because of this?
The consequences I faced. Well, for starters, I got my butt handed to me. That was just embarrassing. I mean, I got my butt handed to me in front of all my friends, in front of all these people, so that was pretty embarrassing. I got a couple of head trauma. Yeah, I got pretty messed up in the head. I mean, not that it changes anything, I'm already pretty messed up in the head, but yeah, the humiliation, physical pain, and the worst thing is it didn't even change the situation I was going through. I mean, my grandpa is still dead. My grandma isn't coming back, so it doesn't change anything, so that's just what makes it worse. So yeah.
What do you have to say to the viewers at home?
For the viewers at home, I would say, don't do it. Just don't drink. It's not good for you. It's not going to change the situation that you are in. It might make you feel better for like, what, 10 seconds? And then you're going to be hungover, which is going to make you feel even worse. Just don't do it. It's not a good thing to do. If I were you, I'd advise against doing it. Take it from me. Thank you.
Now let's hear from Mary Hunt, an advocate for the temperance movement.
My name is Mary Hunt, and I am the National Superintendent of the Women's Christian Temperance Union's Department of Scientific Temperance Instruction, and I am advocating for the prohibition of alcohol.
How did you get to where you are today?
Well, I was a former teacher in Massachusetts, where I started up a campaign to establish temperance instruction in schools, along with a colleague who had written a book called Alcohol and Hygiene, which we promoted as well. I was then invited to speak at the Women's Christian Temperance Union in 1879, and following that speech, I was appointed to the committee, and soon after, in 1880, I was reappointed to National Superintendent.
What would you consider to be your greatest legacy?
My life work's influence on the 18th Amendment of the Constitution was probably my greatest impact on U.S. history, despite it not being enacted yet at that time.
Well, that was eventful. In other news, kids today are quite stupid. As the public becomes increasingly worried about the state of our children, we turn to Horace Mann for information on public education reform.
Okay, my name is Horace Mann, and I am the secretary for the Massachusetts Board of Education, and I'm here today with this foundation to tell you about my major educational reform. Now, this reform, or as it is called, the Common School Movement, will ensure that every child will get the education that they need to be a basic, civilized person in our modern society, and it will be paid by our local taxes. Thank you.
And that's all for today on the Baltimore Republican. Tune in next week for an in-depth interview with Dorothea Dix.